Today we're going to be working on Leetcode question number 241 and different ways to add parentheses. We have been given a string expression of numbers and operators. Return all possible results from computing all the different possible ways to group numbers and operators. You can return the answer in any order. The test cases are generated such that the output values fit in a 32-bit integer and the number of different results should not exceed this one. Okay, so if we have been given 2 minus 1 minus 1, we can put parentheses in two different ways such that the answer, two different ways. So basically we're gonna be putting a parenthesis between 2 and minus 1, which is gonna make it 1, and then minus 1 is gonna it's gonna make the sum equals to 0. If you put parentheses between 1 and minus 1, that's gonna make it 0. 2 minus 0 is gonna make it 2. So we're gonna end up with two solutions, like two answers in the result, which is gonna be 0 and 2. Good. We're gonna be doing it recursively. It's like the algorithm. We're gonna initialize our return as a as a list. That would be list of integer result, or let's just call it return, which is gonna be a new linked list. Okay, and we can call it an integer if you want. Okay, now we're gonna iterate through our expression, which is the input string. For int I equals 0, I is less than the expression dot length I plus plus. Okay, now like when we are at an operator, we want to make sure, like, basically that's when we're gonna process everything. If in order to check if it is an operator or a digit or something else, what we're gonna be doing is like expression dot character at I. It can be three things only, as they have mentioned over here. It can be a plus sign, a minus sign, or a multiplication sign. We are guaranteed that we are not going to be given a division sign. Okay, or actually we're gonna have everything in the if. Expression dot character at I, if it is equal to plus sign, or the last one is expression dot character at I equals to a multiplication sign. In any of these three cases, what we're going to be doing is, like, we're going to be recursively call the same function. Before that, we're going to create two parts of it. Wherever this we find this operator, we're going to say we have two parts. The part one is going to be everything before that I, expression dot substring from 0 to I. And the next part, the part 2, is going to be the part 2, which is going to be equal to expression dot substring everything after that I. Okay, and then once we have these two parts, we're going to recursively call this diff ways to compute, um, and we're going to just call it with part 1, and diff ways to compute with part 2. So the return for the first one, when we're sending the part 1, we're gonna call it part 1 return line, list of integer part1 return, and then list of integer part2 return is going to be equal to this. Okay, once we have that, we're gonna go through every single thing, every single integer inside the part1 and the part2, right? So integer p1 inside the part1 return, right? And for every integer p2 inside the part2 return. So once we have part1 and part2, we're gonna initialize our like temporary result equals to 0, and then we're gonna switch the expression, like because we started doing this logic once we saw an operator, right? So we're gonna switch that operator, expression dot character at I, so we can have three cases here. The first case is, what if it is a like a plus sign? In that case, we're gonna say C is equal to P1 plus P2. Okay, and then we can break. Okay, the next one is gonna be case negative. Okay, in that case, the C is gonna be P1 minus P2, and then we're gonna break, and then multiplication, C is equal to P1 multiplied by P2, and then we're gonna be breaking. Okay, once we are out of the switch, and like we can just put it into the result, and the return dot add the C. That would do it. The last thing after this for loop, once we're done with this for loop, we want to check one last thing, is that if the return dot size is equal to 0, right? In that case, we're just gonna say that if there is nothing in there, we're still gonna say that whatever is the expression, that means like there's a possibility that it's only a one number. There is no uh, operator. So in that case, whatever that number is, we're gonna put it into the return result. Dot value of expression, and then we're gonna be returning the return. Okay. Okay, looking good so far, and it works.